Stravo Mystic members, Mystic Poet 82 here, and welcome to Mystic Fellowship. Today, I will be doing my first Q&A. My first question comes from one of my Star Wars friends, Storybrooke Oz, and she sent me hers in DM. She asks, since you write poetry, who are your favorite writers? Well, to be completely honest, I don't really have any except for Stephen King, I would have to say, because pretty much all his novels have made amazing movies. I guess Shakespeare and his sonnets are definitely another one of my favorites. I don't really read a lot of books. My dad is the big reader in the family. He'll sit at the kitchen table for like hours and read. But yeah, I just don't really have a lot of time for it. Kimmy Cat asks, what is your main inspiration for your poetry? Probably emotions and feelings and like different situations that people go through and that I've experienced. And the more I know about them, the more it helps me write the poem to make it meaningful and so that I can also make it encouraging as well. Bonnie Kiwi asks, who would you most like to meet in real life? Well, my childhood dream was to meet one of my favorite celebrities, and for the longest time, it was Robin Williams. Unfortunately, that changed, and that hurt me real bad, but when The Force Awakens came out, Star Wars just kind of became a huge positive spark in my life. And so now my top two favorites would be Mark Hamill and Peter Mayhew. Personally, I'm a fan of Chewbacca and R2-D2. They're like my two favorite characters. And I think it's pretty much because I felt so bad for Chewie losing Han. Shauna asks, what is your favorite poem? I would have to say Shakespeare sonnet number 18. And that one starts off, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? So I'm sure you've all heard that. It's probably the most popular of his sonnets. As far as my poems that I've written, I would have to say my Carrie Fisher one, because one of my other friends from the Star Wars community that I'm part of on Twitter was awesome enough to upload my video to one of the little Vine clips on Twitter and tag Mark Hamill in it, and he liked it, so he was able to listen to it and appreciate it, and that made me feel really good. Now, Specky Poo decided to be a goofball and ask a bunch of questions, but even though some of them are goofy, I'm going to answer them anyway. One of his serious ones is, if you make it big time, are you going to Disney World? Most definitely. I'm hoping to go regardless of whether I make it big or not, because I really want to take my daughter. I've always wanted to go as a child, but my parents just didn't make the kind of money to be able to afford that. And I know it's amazing because friends talk about it all the time, and it makes me jealous. But hopefully someday I'll get to go, no matter what happens. One of his goofy questions, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? I googled this one, and actually it's 700 pounds. How long have you been on YouTube? My first video I uploaded September 16th, 2016, and it was just kind of me goofing off at the park because we were playing Pokemon Go, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to turn off the app for a second, and because we were just watching our daughter on the playground, and I was like, I'm going to record her and see if she even notices. So if you've watched the video, it's pretty cute, her response. If you haven't, please watch it, because it's priceless. What do you hope to accomplish with your channel? More, like, positive encouragement, mostly through my poems. I want to be known for those more than anything else, and also being just a positive and encouraging person to anyone who needs it. as well as, like, doing the other things that I plan to do. The rest of these questions are on the silly side. This one I've never heard before. How many blue marbles in a bag of coins? I googled that and I didn't get a dang thing for it. So my response to that is however many pennies have been in a water fountain. Because you know when they're in a water fountain, they turn bluish green. I guess that would be as close as you're going to get. What would you do for a Klondike bar? Personally, I prefer ice cream sandwiches or chocolate eclairs. Why is the sky blue? Well, if you're a science nerd, you'd know that one by heart. It's because the molecules scatter blue light from the sun during the day more than the red light particles. Why does the world go around? Funny thing, when I googled that, it came up as a song from 1958. So, whatever. Abunda, who's one of my favorite YouTubers, and he's a really awesome friend, and he's also very encouraging. So, if you want to check him out on Twitter, he's got the underscore at the end of his name. He puts a lot of encouraging quotes up if you ever need one. That's why I have his notifications turned on, and he also puts up random questions for people, and sometimes it's easy to answer it, and sometimes not. Sometimes I have to think for a little bit before I can give a response, or sometimes I just don't have one. But even if you don't watch his channel, at least follow him and see the things that he tweets out, because they're pretty cool. He asks, if you would be given the chance to become a Star Wars character in an upcoming movie, what kind would you like to be, and what would you like to be named? Well, other than the main characters, which obviously I couldn't pull off, I would have to say if they ever found my story of my roleplay character account that I have on Twitter and decided to make a film on that, I would want to play her. They might have to CGI me, or I'd have to lose some weight to pull off playing a Jedi, but her name is Terra Zola. And if you guys want to read the backstory on her account, her tag is Jedi _of_ Night, Night. And it's basically using a program called Tweeshort where you can make as long a thing as you want, and you can make it a story. And it kind of runs through Twitter, and it's really helpful for role players on Twitter, because there seems to be a lot of those. But somebody told me that it would make an awesome story if it was, extended and everything, and more detail put in, and even made into a movie. And I was like, yeah, well, that's up to Disney if they ever found it and saw it and liked it. But if you guys want to read that, go ahead and check it out. I'm not doing anything with her currently. Kind of my last roleplay session was quite a few months ago, so I just don't have the time for it anymore. Whiskey in the Jam Jar asks, what's your favorite book? Well, when I was younger, I read more, and I kind of got tied between two of them. Watership Down, which is about rabbits who try to find a new home, and actually the story's pretty old. There was an animated movie on it. It was made in the 70s, and it was one of my favorites. But the novel, obviously, is always better than the movie and explains a whole lot more. And that one is probably tied with Dragonheart, because I loved Dragonheart. And then some lady that my mom was friends with had the book, and she's like, I read it enough times, you can have it. So she gave it to me. As far as newer things that I've read, which isn't much, because I really don't have time, one thing I do recommend, if you guys like Five Nights at Freddy's, read The Silver Eyes. It is an amazing book. It explains a lot if you know some of the story from watching videos, theories and all that kind of stuff. Sorry, I have a little bit of allergies, so medicine's not doing a whole lot for me. Neris asks, what is your favorite game at the moment? World of Warcraft, because it's kind of just my casual, relaxing game that I play with my handicapped friend. What are your top 10 favorite YouTubers? Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, Gavabunga. These two are combined, Good Mythical Morning and This Is Mythical. If you know about them, I don't know. But Good Mythical Morning's the main show with Rhett and Link, and they're hilarious. And This Is Mythical is just different clips from the crew. The crew does. Mike and Alex are probably my favorite. They are so funny. Subpixel, Bonnie Kiwi, Whiskey in the Jam Jar, Sky Media, which, as I've said in another video, includes actually several channels, but I kind of like them all as one because they're all done in the same place, pretty much. There's Sky Does Gaming, or Sky versus Gaming, Sky Does Minecraft, Sky Does Things, and The Office Antics, which is kind of the rest of the group, and they do different cool stuff on it. Cinco HR and Annoying Orange. I know Annoying Orange is a little old, but he does have a funny series called Buttman, and it's made with Grand Theft Auto. So if you guys want something to really laugh at, if his voice doesn't annoy you too terribly much, check that out. It will definitely make you laugh, if nothing else. Leko San, if that's how I pronounce your name. If not, I'm sorry. Asks, what's the one quote you can live your life on that helps you get through the day? Well, I kind of have a couple, and I kind of had to look for these because my wording was a little different and I wanted to get something that matched it totally. Life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it, by Charles L. Swindoll. That's true. I mean, attitude is everything. I am not afraid of storms, for I am learning how to sail my ship, by Louisa May Alcott. That's a really good one, because life is full of storms. Hennessy Rain asks, what is the first poem you've ever written? And actually, I have here my first 2 books of poetry. Yes, there's wax spilled on it. My daughter made me accidentally bump my candle once because she startled me when I had my candle burning next to me. And it dumped on some of my stuff, and that kind of upset me. But I have 2 composition books in here full of poems that I wrote. The majority of them are sonnets like Shakespeare's, and they're kind of based on like biblical teachings and stuff. But I have a few other ones that are not. The very first one, oh, I think I went too far. There it is. I wrote in 1990. And it's actually kind of like Shel Silverstein's poems. If you guys have ever read his, they are so funny and so awesome. And it's called The Armor and the Knight. I was walking along the road one day when I saw a farmer. Further ahead, I saw a suit of armor, which happened to belong to the farmer. Now the armor was running away, and as I passed it, I asked, why are you going this way? The suit of armor said, you'll see, so just follow me. I followed the armor to a castle, and a knight came out without a hassle. Then the armor said to me, see, this is where I should be. I could see Shel Silverstein turning that into like one of his really cool drawings. And then her other question is, what is your favorite spot to write poetry? Actually, at work, because I usually get left by myself and it's quiet and I can just put on my music on my earbuds, do my work, and the words just come, and then I just type them into my phone and my memo thing and can alter them. Sometimes I'll sit down at break and just go through and fix them or whatever. But those are all the questions I have. Thank you guys so much. I didn't expect it to be that many. Maybe I should have made this into 2 parts, but we'll see what happens with the next one when I decide to do another one. So have a wonderful weekend, guys, and hopefully those of you who are live streaming, I will be able to hop right on in.